Alright, hello everyone and welcome to my review for Atelier Ryza 3, Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key. This is the newest game that is released in the Atelier series, and it released back on March 24th, 2023. In this review, I'm going to be talking about what the game plays like, the good parts of the game, and the bad parts of the game. I recently played through the game, and the footage in the background is from my stream playthrough of the game. I show my stream footage in the background so you can see that I've played the game and completed it prior to reviewing the game. With all that being said, let's get on to reviewing Atelier Ryza 3. So Atelier Ryza 3 has you playing as the main character of the game, an alchemist named Ryza. She goes on adventures to different areas with her friends, and at the beginning of the game a strange event happens where a bunch of islands mysteriously appear in the world. These islands are called the Kark Islands. Ryza and her friends are then tasked with investigating the islands and figuring out why they mysteriously appeared. Alright guys, so now that we talked a little bit about the story of Atelier Ryza 3 and what it's all about, we're going to start talking about the gameplay next. Atelier Ryza 3 is an RPG game that is focused on item creation. Throughout the game, as part of the main story, you'll explore different regions of the world of Ryza 3. As you explore areas, you can use gathering tools like a hammer, an axe, and a few other items to gain items from trees, plants, rocks, crystals, and other things that you come across. With the items you collect from gathering or defeating enemies, you can then go back to the Atelier. At the Atelier, the main character Ryza, who is an alchemist, can use the items she's collected to create new items. She can make healing items to heal characters, attack items to do damage, or weapons and armor to make your character stronger. While exploring environments, you'll also see enemies roaming around. If you run into one of these enemies, a battle will begin. Battles in Atelier Ryza 3 are turn-based. You control one character of your choice and fight with a 3-man party. Your other 2 party members in battle are AI controlled. During combat, you can attack to build up what is called AP. AP is ability points and allows you to use skills when attacking. In battle, skills do a lot more damage than regular attacks, and they allow you to build what is called CC points, core capacity points. With the core capacity points that you build up in battle, you can use those points to use items in battle. Items are very powerful in this game, and if you make the right items, you can do tons of damage to enemies or heal your characters for a lot of health, or buff your party stacks and make everyone a lot more powerful. Also, during combat, you will sometimes see characters make requests. For example, they might say to hit an enemy and do physical or magical damage. If you fulfill this condition, that character will follow up by doing what is called an order skill, an ability with a cool fancy animation that tends to do fairly high damage. As you continue attacking enemies in battle, there will also be a tactics level that increases. As your tactics level increases, you can do more attacks on enemies at once, and if you get your tactics level up to level 5, you can do an extremely powerful attack that is called a fatal drive attack. The best way I can describe a fatal drive attack is like a limit break from Final Fantasy VII. It's a big, overdramatic attack where a character hits the enemy a ton of times and does a crazy amount of damage in the attack. The battles in the game are overall quite fun, and I found them to be more strategic than a fair amount of RPGs out there. There was a few times I died on boss fights and had to go back and rethink my strategy and use a different strategy to win a boss fight. Once you win a battle, you are awarded EXP and coal, which is the currency in the Atelier games. In Atelier Ryza 3, once characters get enough EXP, they will level up and their level will increase. Upon leveling, your stacks will increase, and sometimes characters will learn new, more powerful skills when leveling. In terms of getting stronger, there's not only just leveling, but there's also a skill tree in the game as well. As you fill out the skill tree, you'll be able to make more powerful items, you'll be able to collect stronger item ingredients for item creation, and your characters will get stronger too. You can fill out the skill tree by collecting skill points from making items and also doing side quests in the game. Outside of the combat, you will explore some of the largest areas in the entire Atelier series. The areas in this game are massive and there is so much to explore and see. The exploration, simply put, is some of the best ever in an Atelier game. In previous Atelier games, the areas were kind of small, but in this game they made the areas so much larger and there is so much more to do. Now, once you collect some items from being out in areas and gathering items, you will then go back to the Atelier to use the items you collected to make new items. At the Atelier, you can save your game, rest, or you can do item synthesis to make new items. Item creation is a huge part of this game and the Atelier series. I will say right off the bat, this game has quite possibly the best item crafting I've ever seen in any RPG game I've played. In the Atelier, you'll select what item you want to make during item creation, and it will show the necessary items you need to synthesize the item. When you create an item, you can select what ingredients you want to use and you can unlock new abilities on that item. The abilities might increase your damage with the item, make it heal for more, increase your critical hit rate, do a certain type of damage like fire damage with that item. Then, once you finish making the item, you can also put traits on the item. These traits can boost all your stats. They can make you get your next turn quicker. There's so many different ways that you can customize the item that you create in the game that it is insane. There's no other RPG that has item creation on this game's level. While making items, you can also raise the quality of the item to make it more powerful. One of the best feelings in this game is making a max quality item and you then go and equip it on a character and you see an insane boost to their stats, like all stats going up by 50 to 100. If you are worried about a learning curve with the item creation in the game does offer a few tutorials to help you learn the systems, and there's also an option to have the game automatically make an item for you, as long as you have the necessary materials to make the item. In general, Atelier Ryza 3 is a great starting point for new players to the series, as the game does as much as it can to simplify the item creation and other parts of the game to make it as beginner friendly as possible. One of the big new features of Ryza 3 is the key system in the game. While exploring areas of the game, you can find landmarks that serve as fast travel points. Later in the game, you get the ability where each time you find a new landmark, you can go and make a key there. Once the keys are made, these keys can be used in combat to make you more powerful. They can unlock new areas to explore, or it can make items that you gather better. So up to this point, I've said a lot of really good stuff about the gameplay of Atelier Ryza 3. So now I'm going to start talking about some of the flaws I felt that this game had. The first gameplay flaw with the game I would say is that I found the key system in the game underwhelming. Until near the end of the game, I found many of the keys I made to not be that useful, and they only made a very small difference in battles. I'll admit, maybe it could have been my fault and I just didn't explore the gameplay mechanic enough. My second flaw with Ryza 3 for me is the forced AI of other party members in battle. I prefer in turn-based games when you have full control over the entire party. So I really dislike that in Atelier Ryza 3 during combat, you can only fully control one character and the other two characters are AI controlled. I find that AI controlled characters makes battles more luck-based because you can't control what those characters do, and you have to hope those characters do something smart. And so I would really prefer for the next Atelier game that they go back to giving full control of the entire battle party during battles. My last flaw with the gameplay would be the palette swap boss designs. So basically you'll fight one boss and then you get to the next boss of the story, and the next boss of the story is basically a palette swap of the previous boss. Literally the same exact design, but they're just red instead of blue. I found this to be really lazy boss design, and this was another flaw of the game for me. So overall, that's going to cover it for the gameplay. I will say the gameplay overall in Atelier Ryza 3 is really good for the most part. I enjoyed the battling a lot in the game. I really enjoyed the item creation, and the exploration is definitely the best of the Ryza trilogy. Alright, so next up we got the story of Atelier Ryza 3. The story of Atelier Ryza 3 was surprisingly good. It continues Ryza's adventures with her friends and has new playable characters joining Ryza in her journey in this game. One new character in the game that you get is Boss, who is now a playable character. He was a character that has been in the Ryza trilogy since Ryza 1, but he was never playable until this game. He's one of the best new characters of the game. In general, the cast of characters in this game were all very good. I would say it was one of the best casts of any Atelier game I played, and I say this as somebody who has beaten every Atelier game that's been localized. Every character was very entertaining, they were very well developed, and every single character had a conclusion to their story arc in the game. My only real criticism of the story would be that once you find out the mystery behind the Kark Islands, I found that the mystery itself wasn't really all that interesting, and I wish there would have been more interesting stuff that you find out about the islands. But in the end, the story is ultimately really good. The cast of characters in this game is super good. I really like the characters in this game a whole lot. I would say the main story maybe could have been a little bit more interesting. Next up, I'm going to be talking about the music in the game. The music in Atelier Ryza 3 was pretty good for the most part. Like, the main battle theme in the game I thought was really good, although it takes a little while to get going. I will say overall the soundtrack was a little bit weaker than Atelier Ryza 1 and 2 soundtrack, but I still really like the music in the game a lot. So overall, what are my thoughts on Atelier Ryza 3, Alchemist of the End, and the Secret Key? Overall, Atelier Ryza 3 was a game I really enjoyed. The game had super fun combat, some of the best exploration of the Atelier series, and one of the best casts of any RPG I've played. I'd say so far for 2023, this was one of the best RPG releases of 2023. I was very surprised with how good this game was, and I overall very highly suggest it. As always, I want to say a big thank you for watching the video. I really greatly appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also follow me over on Twitch, where I play games that I end up reviewing here on the channel. And as always, thank you all so much, and I will catch you all in the next video.